Hey man, watched your response to my critique on Panexperientialism. Sorry, it's been a while to reply. There are some things that we do definitely agree on, but some that we don't. Your responses were very interesting. They were the responses that I would give, and indeed the responses that I did give when I thought Panexperientialism was the way to go about things. The reason I thought that Panexperientialism and functionalism were very similar is highlighted in the Is Consciousness Subjective video. But now I've read a little more on the subject, I'm a little bit more knowledgeable, I'd like to hope. I think there are still some problems with Panexperientialism. Before we go into that, I thought I'd just say something quickly. You said that materialism isn't a very spiritual way of looking at the world. I would completely disagree with you there. There are some people that would disagree even more. Like my lecturer last year, Sue Blackmore, she's a materialist. She's pretty much a Dennettian, whether she admit it or not. But our first lecture, we meditated to get rid of this Cartesian theatre. There are many facets of a true non-Cartesian materialism that can be considered very spiritual, and I'm often struck in wonder and awe at the nature of the cosmos because of this. So I don't think that's an issue. But again, on to the points. One of the things that you dismissed straight away was the zombie argument, the cosmological zombies. Now, I'm quite intrigued as to why you dismissed this, because you say all science is metaphor. So what better way to discuss and try to analyze our logic and our arguments by framing them in metaphor explicitly. The reason I brought this up is because in another video you said that zombies would have a working memory and therefore they'd think they're conscious, so you dismissed Chalmers' claims to the zombie argument and accepted a more Dennettian zombie. So what I then went on to do was say, well, if we have the same physical laws, then it would be, without the intrinsic subjectivity, the universe would be exactly the same, and therefore you'd have zombies. So I don't think it's as easy to dismiss that claim as you did personally. Then I went on to back it up with Hume a little bit. Now, I'm not claiming that Hume has any grounds for epistemic or ontological truth, but what I do think is it's a good way to get there. Reason being, if something has no effect, then it has no effect. It might as well not be there. So for us to implement this, it's useless. It doesn't do anything. It has no effect by definition. So I don't think that's going to solve our problems. But again, I'll highlight what I think is our main difference. I would say that consciousness, if you want an explanation for consciousness, you can't have a first-person explanation in it. You can't have subjectivity, you can't have experience, because those are the things that you're trying to explain. So if they're still there, you've not explained them. You would say, however, I think, that as long as you don't have this first-person point of view, I mean, as long in the experiment, in the explanation, then it's not complete. If you don't have a first person, it's not complete, is what you're saying. I came up with a thought experiment to show our differences a little bit. I mean, you think that consciousness is a process, and I think you think life is a process as well. Again, these are just some of our similarities. But let's go back. We're 17th century biologists. This is just an analogy. You can replace the word true consciousness and elan vital. So we figure out we're in the 17th century. We're super biologists, because we would be, and we come up with the 7 life processes. We identify that's what life is. Not only that, but even before Darwin, we figure out the process of abiogenesis and how life can come from non-life. And then I say to you, I'm like, do you know what this means? There's no need for the elan vital. We've explained it away. There's no possible need for it. We can explain everything naturally. And then you say to me, Ah, no. Don't you see what this means? Because there's no chasm of difference between what's living and non-living. That shows us that the elan vital is spread throughout the universe. Again, this would then lead you to say something like um, certain living things correlate with the elan vital more than non-living things do. This is the same predicament that I think we're in consciousness. The neurocorrelates of consciousness, I don't even like the terminology, to be honest with you. I don't like it at all, because it does imply this dualism. Now, there's a few other issues that I still have. Firstly, the thing is, I've heard you say on another video that you criticise Dennett for saying consciousness is an illusion. Now, what he means when he says consciousness is an illusion isn't that consciousness doesn't exist, but it's not what we think it is. This is evidenced by a vast array of neurological studies in perception, in like blind sight and blind spots, and it's evidenced quite a lot. It can't be what we think it is. I mean, one of the things is the brain is a massively parallel system, but our thoughts tend to be serial. So again, it can't possibly be what we think it is. We think there's this Cartesian theatre. There can't possibly be. And you go on to criticise Dennett for, well, not Dennett, but all materialism for saying that it is still innately Cartesian. And the thing is, I'd agree, most materialism is Cartesian, but there are certain non-Cartesian explanations for consciousness. In particular, this one. Right, what's great about this book is it explains a materialist explanation to consciousness, and he without a Cartesian theatre, and he explains why most materialism, including someone like Crick, is wrong about his assumptions, and I think he's very bang on with what he says here. So I don't know. There are a lot of similarities between our views, but at the end of the day, I don't agree with Panexperientialism. I think what it is there is this illusion of consciousness. It's a bag of tricks. There are different things like our narrative memory, our perception can play tricks on us. There are all sorts of things like that. And once we understand the tricks and the fact that they are tricks and how the tricks work, then we can start to say, what I think Panexperientialism does, perhaps slightly, is accept both the world of the physical and the world of this illusion, and therefore you displace the illusion further down the trail because you think consciousness has properties that it can't possibly have. Okay, I'll highlight some of these in a few videos. I hope to hear back from you soon. Peace.